The morning was ordinary, deceptively calm. I was driving the kids, three little sparks of chaos in neck pillows, toward a family reunion we had been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. Coffee in the cup holder, snacks in the back, GPS set, everything perfectly mundane. Or so I thought. Then my husband's hand tightened on the dashboard, his face pale. His voice barely rose above a whisper. Turn the car around. Now. I laughed first, thinking it was a joke, one of those small pre-crisis reflexes people have. But his jaw was rigid. His eyes fixed on the road ahead with something I had never seen, pure, urgent certainty. Why? I asked, forcing calm into my voice. He shook his head. Please. Just turn. There was no room for hesitation. I swerved onto the last exit before the border, a gentle curve that felt like an invitation from fate itself. With each mile away from the highway, his posture eased, though only slightly. He had been bracing for something I had no idea existed. The kids started to notice. Are we going the wrong way? My middle child asked. We forgot something, I said automatically, and the youngest piped up, snacks. I didn't answer. We drove in silence, the hum of the tires on asphalt and the whisper of trees our only soundtrack. Every second felt stretched, each heartbeat echoing like a warning. Finally, my husband motioned toward a narrow, unmarked access road. Pull over, he said. We stopped. He unbuckled his seatbelt and walked to the back of the car. My hands were clammy, my chest tight. He gestured toward the trunk. Look. I obeyed. Inside the red duffel, wedged between clothes and a child's toiletry bag, were plastic-sealed packets of contraband. Shock immobilized me. My first breath caught somewhere in my chest. Not fear, not exactly, it was the slow, sinking weight of betrayal. I thought of my parents, of years spent being the responsible one, the safe one. My sister, favored and adored, had inherited charm and ease. I had inherited the invisible work of keeping life from collapsing. And now this, a deliberate risk with my children present. My husband said nothing, just stared. I nodded, the silent acknowledgement between two people who understood without words. The danger was real. The line had been crossed. And I, finally, knew exactly what needed to happen. We drove on, leaving the reunion behind, leaving their manipulations behind, leaving the possibility of forgiveness behind. The kids, oblivious in their cartoon-induced trance, were unaware that the mundane morning had almost become a disaster. The sky above, still blue, betrayed nothing of the storm narrowly avoided. As the highway stretched endlessly, my mind drifted backward to childhood dinners and whispered family secrets. My parents had always valued appearance over substance. Credit cards maxed? Gas shut off? No problem, as long as the house looked immaculate, as long as they could charm their way out of reality. I had learned young. Usefulness earned love. Boundaries were negotiable. I remembered the countless emergencies my parents had thrust onto me, bridging gaps for my sister's jobs, navigating bills, deciphering their lies. Each time I gave, I told myself it was just a small sacrifice. It was never small. They were skilled manipulators, experts in emotional leverage. And I had been their designated driver at a demolition derby of life. Then came the school issue. My nephew was struggling, my sister overwhelmed. The solution presented itself, a private school, expensive beyond reason, conditionally accepted with a deposit. And who did they turn to for help? Me. My stomach had nodded instantly. I cared for the child, yes, but history had taught me where this path led. I said no gently, but firmly. Silence fell. Cold. Resentful. Fast forward to the present drive, the memory of that refusal pressing on me like the weight of the trees outside the window. My parents, calm and cheerful that morning, had managed to sneak something past me again. The red duffel sat in the trunk like a quiet accusation. It was a pattern. They framed generosity as expectation, and every no as a moral failure. I had been trained to obey, to anticipate, to forgive. But today, something had shifted. The gravity of their choice, the risk they had imposed on my children, was unmistakable. As we drove, I thought of the years I had spent justifying their behavior. The hustle, the shun, The gravitational pull my sister wielded effortlessly. They were all tools of manipulation. I had carried the invisible weight of responsibility, the armor of compliance. But now, for the first time, I considered abandoning the battlefield entirely. The road curved into silence, the forest surrounding us like a witness. The kids remained blissfully unaware, their tiny hands clutching toys, their soft snores and murmurs a reminder of the stakes. I realized I wasn't just protecting myself anymore. I was protecting the next generation. My husband's steady presence beside me grounded this resolve. Together, we understood some battles weren't worth fighting. Some bridges weren't worth crossing. We arrived at the hidden turnoff, the narrow access road cradled by trees. My husband gestured silently, and I pulled the car over. The duffel in the trunk waited, heavy with unspoken threats. My pulse raced. He opened the bag. Plastic-sealed packets of contraband, hidden among clothing. My stomach sank. My breath caught. Not only had my parents lied, manipulated, and coerced, I realized they had also risked our safety. My children had been in the car. Years of conditioning surfaced. Guilt, self-doubt, the instinct to protect family no matter what. But the truth was undeniable. This wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated gamble. My husband's eyes met mine, calm, resolute. We understood each other perfectly. I felt a sudden clarity. I didn't need to fix them. I didn't need to save them. I needed to save us. We drove away without a word, leaving the bag behind, leaving their expectations behind, leaving the toxic cycle behind. Every mile became a meditation on boundaries, trust, and moral courage. The children, unaware, became symbols of what was truly precious: safety, stability, and love untainted by manipulation. Back home, silence reigned. Calls from my parents went unanswered. Days passed. Then they showed up unannounced, smiling, casual, as if nothing had happened. I opened the door just enough to step outside. "You'll come around," my mother said. I stared. Calm, quiet, certain. The years of manipulation flared in my mind. Favors, emergencies, guilt. But now I had distance. I had clarity. "We're done," I said. "Don't call. Don't come here. You don't get to see the kids." They tried reasoning. I refused. No negotiation. No compromise. I realized the stakes weren't just about respect. They were about life, safety, and moral integrity. Weeks later, my parents attempted the unthinkable, smuggling contraband themselves. Caught at the border. Arrested. 4-year plea deal. I learned through a frantic email from my sister. No guilt. No second chances. The law enforced boundaries my parents refused to respect. I sat quietly, a weight lifted. I had already acted morally, decisively. We had avoided disaster. The realization hit me. Protecting the family I built, not the one I was born into, was not selfish. It was necessary. And for the first time, I felt true freedom. Months later, we relocated. North Carolina. New schools. New routines. The mountains and pine air filled our lungs with clarity and peace. Calls from relatives went unanswered. We had created a life without the constant strain of manipulation. The kids laughed freely. My husband slept soundly. I no longer carried invisible responsibilities or guilt. Boundaries were no longer theoretical, they were real. Occasionally, news filtered through of my parents' ongoing consequences. I didn't intervene. I didn't need to. Our life, imperfect but ours, thrived. For the first time, I could breathe. For the first time, I could teach my children that love doesn't require exploitation and that safety and integrity are the ultimate forms of care. The storm had passed and we had survived, not unscathed, but unbroken.